Charles Haley. You're listening to Nothing But Niners.
So now they've got to start from deep in their end of the field, and Garrison Hurst takes advantage of it. He takes the handoff, sweeps to his right, gets to the 20. He's in the 30. Needs a cut in. He comes back up the right sideline. Breaks the third tackle. Comes down to the 30. He's down to the 20. He's down to the 10. He's down to the 5. He's down to the end zone. Touchdown! Touchdown! 49ers! 96-yard run from scrimmage. Garrison Hurst.
Young back to throw. In trouble. He's going to be sacked. No, gets away. He runs. Gets away again. Goes to the 40. Gets away again. To the 35. Gets back at the 30. To the 20. The 50. The 10. He died. Touchdown 49ers.
7-11's 27-yard line. 49ers into the backfield. Gets on third down. He'll take it himself. For first down. Alex Smith is in. Touchdown.
His left hip. Third down. Alex takes the snap. Alex looking down in the post, and it's good. Touchdown. Touchdown 49. It is second down. Ryan takes the snap. Goes to slant to the left side. It's Russell. Intercepted. The 49ers pick it. And Navarro Bowman is redemption. Navarro Bowman running it all the way for the touchdown. No greater redemption.
Kaepernick shoots it. Hold everybody. Colin Kaepernick. What a game. Touchdown.
Yeah. Click, click, boom. What's going on, faithfuls? The Nothing But Niner crew is back, and we are here to bring you guys a very, very fun show. But before we start, I got to check in on my guy. Today was the day, man. You tweeted it out. You put it in the group chat. I waited until the show so I can ask you. How'd it go?
Somewhat positive, I guess you could say.
Okay.
No more physical therapy, but now I got to go do a FCE, which is like a functional capacity evaluation test.
See how much movement and stuff you got, and
Yeah, basically see what my movement, strength, and all that stuff is, and then after that, I go to the doctor, and whatever they say, the doctor goes off of, and then we have a decision on obviously if I have any restrictions or anything like that. So,
all right,
closer.
A step in the right direction, man. That's what I'm talking about. Some positivity. And now we're gonna bring in my other man, my guys down here, Tony. What up, big dog? How you doing, man?
Yo, what's going on, fellas?
I saw you last time out there running and stuff, trying to show us, hey guys, I'm in shape, I'm fresh and all that stuff. And now you in the home, you chilling, man. How was your day, bro?
Good. Yours?
Oh, my day was amazing. It was phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. I hated most of it, but I'm having a great day now because I came home. I played games with my kids. We Hungry Hippos. You guys ever play that game?
Yeah.
That game is absolute pandemonium. I've never played it. I've only watched it be played before. Just same as tonight. All you're doing is just slapping something, trying to get balls. Pause. You just slapping and slapping and slapping. All right, I gotta stop doing this on camera. But like, I came home, we played a game, Perfection, and I broke Perfection the first time we used it. I broke it. It's got the little timer you got to turn. Well, it didn't stop, so I kept going and it clicked. And I was like, oh, it's okay. And I wound it all the way up again. Bro, that thing was like double time now. So we got to take it back. First day, we broke it already. It popped already. So my bad, guys.
Hungry Hippo reminds me of Rock'em Sock'em Robots.
Yes, you just keep pushing the button until somebody's...
You're just popping them until the head pops up.
Yeah, exactly, man. But it is what it is. So, guys, we are here. I'm going to have a lot of fun on this show. I got a lot of energy, and I'll show you guys the secret sauce as to why I got a lot of energy. It's what's in here, which is really this. All right. So I got the ginseng going. Yeah, energy drink. My wife let me off the hook, so I'm going to take advantage of it. I'm not normally allowed to have these things, so this is good.
Yeah,
you remember that?
Drinking a Monster ever.
Yeah. No, I try to get the Red Bull, but I don't know, man. I'm going back to the Monster, so we'll see what happens. Let's go through these formalities really quick and bang this stuff out really quick. So first of all, if this is your first time here on the YouTube page, we want to thank you guys for checking us out. If you enjoy the show, do us a favor. hit that like and subscribe button, okay? Turn on those notifications as well. We don't just bring you guys shows 3 nights a week. We also do breaking news videos. We were very, very busy during the free agency period because the team was making a ton of moves. So make sure you have those notifications on because we will be announcing when there's big news, cuts, signings, and any other updates like that. Okay. We have social media platforms. Twitter and Snapchat is the first one. All right, give us a follow there. It's nothing but 9ERS. And then we have Facebook, Instagram, as well as Twitch, and that is spelled all the way out with no numbers, nothing but Niners. Okay. I'm your guy, 49ers Mike _NFL. Over here on this side is my guy Nick. He is 49er Faithful 365. And down below, last but certainly not least, is our guy, the resident GM of Nothing But Niners, NJ Niner Fan 499. Those are the Twitter handles. Make sure you guys go and give us all follows on Twitter if you aren't doing so already. Tony's ready for the show. Look at him. He's got his paper. Is that for the show?
It's their current roster.
Yes. All right. So we're gonna do a breakdown here, guys. So we got to start. In the description, I talked about how April is almost here, and that's when Nothing But Niners is going to turn the page to the draft, right? Everyone's always asking, what do we do in the draft? What do we do in the draft? And we kept saying, we can't answer that until we see what happens in free agency. Well, free agency is kind of dying down. All right. So the way we're going to start this is, not the way we're going to start it. What we're going to do is we're going to break down the roster, see what they added in free agency, give our final thoughts on it. And then we're going to see if we can identify the remaining weaknesses. Okay. See if there's any weaknesses, if any, and then go from there. That way we can try to see what the draft plan is. But before we get to that, I want to ask you guys a simple question. Will the 49ers make any more free agency signings before the draft?
I think so.
I think they will, but I don't think it'll be like anything like that we're expecting. Like just something, if something falls into their laps, like I don't know, like a Deshaun Watson or something like that. Because I just think they're done because John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan normally don't talk until they're done. And they're scheduled to talk Monday. So I think if we do anything, it'll be something little or something really, really big.
All right. Now, Tony, you said that you think that there's something that's going to happen. Is there a position group in particular that you're thinking about?
I don't think it's going to be big. I think they're add a couple more bodies to the roster. I think you can see them add another corner. I think you can see them add a wide receiver, and maybe even potentially a linebacker because they're in on a couple linebackers.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, a couple guys like Golden Tate would be interesting for a slot guy. Amendola is another guy that could be interesting. Actually, I have the list right here. There's a couple guys out there that they could bring in, and just remember because we got to fill the roster, and I think we're only in the 60s right now.
I thought we were at 72.
All right. Okay. I see what you got, and I'm surprised you guys. I mean, Tony, you named a lot of positions. You didn't name the position that I thought you would have. So it's going to be a lot of fun. All right, let's break this thing down here, guys. Let's talk about what the team actually did in free agency. So one of the big things was securing your own, bringing in your own guys, and keeping it going the way it should. Right. I'm going to move my camera a little bit closer to me because I feel like I'm far away from everybody. All right. So it's we did a lot of securing our own guys. I know that they're counting up the number on the rosters now. So
76, I think we're up to
76. Okay.
Yeah, 76.
Now, are Sean Coleman and guys like Travis Benjamin reflected in that number?
All those guys are on here because they revert back because the opt-out is over.
What about Hurd? Is Hurd counted in that? Like the injured guys? They are? Okay.
And the reason why I didn't say quarterback is I don't think they're going to do anything like that until Jimmy they find someone to bring in for to be a bridge, or they go after Watson or whatever.
That's still not the position I thought you guys would have said. So we'll get to it. Don't worry. We'll get to it. I don't think quarterback is going to be a move anytime soon. But let's talk about what we did do, all right, as a collective. So we know what they did. They started with the pass rusher the first signing of the offseason? Eckelbaum. He was the first official one.
From another team, yeah.
No, well, what do we do in-house first? Because Juice
Manuel Mosley and Kyle Juszczyk.
Yeah.
All right, so Mosley. Because you guys are counting Juice. I think that was done before free agency period started, but I get it. So Juice, Mosley, so they went fullback, they went corner, they did Ekubom, Sosa. I still don't know if I'm saying his name the right way. Let's start with those three. Did they solidify those positions? Fullback is locked up, right? We're not worried about that anymore. Okay. You go to the corners, you got Mosley. Actually, they brought back all three: Mosley, Verrett, and Shark.
Yeah.
Right? Are we solidified there? You guys got any more concerns or what? Like, what's the biggest concern at that position?
Well, they brought Dante Johnson back also.
Let's go. Don't forget the Jersey boy, Nick. Hold us down.
Dante Johnson also. You got Tim Harris still there. The other guy, what was the other guy's name that they brought in? Was that
Who is Bodie Calhoun?
Yeah, Bodie Calhoun guy.
And then they have Adonis Alexander.
There.
Is he a safety? Adonis Alexander? Is he a safety?
Yeah,
he's a corner.
And then Webster. So you got like 9 or 10 corners on this roster right now.
Okay. All right. So I see what they're working with now. Okay. So let me see here. Like you said, Calhoun, Harris, Johnson, Mosley, Webster, Alexander, Melifanu is what?
Safety.
All right. So
he's a safety, yeah.
What about Moore?
Safety.
All right. We won't count him. Ward. All right. And then let's go to the other. Wait, so that was it?
That's it. Right there, yeah.
So we were at what, 7? We're at 7 of them. All right.
I think we have more than that. We got. Let's start with
Shark's not on here yet.
He's right.
K'Wan Williams isn't on here yet. Mosley's on there. Verrett's not on there yet.
You're right.
I have them on my list.
So how many corners do you have in total, Tony?
Should be 9, I think.
We have Ken Webster, Adonis Alexander. That's 2. Tim Harris is 3. Maiden, I put as a defensive back, so I'm not going to count him. You have K'Wan Williams. That's 4. Dante Johnson, 5. Verrett, 6. Mosley, 7. Calhoun, 8. Then you have Travarius Moore's a safety. Jimmy Ward, safety. Nakuka, the guy that brought off of waivers to fill out for injuries last year. He's a safety, special team guy. Chris Edwards is another safety. Obi Melifonwu, whatever his name is, he's a safety. Tavon Wilson, who we just signed from the Colts, is a safety. Jaquissi Tart, Marcel Harris, both safeties.
So that took us to 8.
And what about did you say Bodie Calhoun?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a corner.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about, corners.
No, I just named off the safeties.
No, but he was asking if you named Calhoun while we were counting the corners.
Yeah.
That's why I was asking. 8. I didn't hear it, so that's why I was asking, because I had 9.
The corners, then the safeties.
What 9 do you have, Nick? Are we missing somebody?
Well, Calhoun 1, Harris 2, Johnson 3, Mosley 4, Webster 5. Then you have
Verrett, Mosley,
Alexander 6, Mosley 7, Verrett 8, and then Shark 9. That's what I have, 9.
So what name did you have that Tony didn't have? You counted Adonis. Oh, wait. Who was the third name you said?
The third name? Dante Johnson?
No, that's not it.
So Bodie Calhoun, Tim Harris, Dante Johnson, Mosley, Webster, Alexander. That's 6. Shark 7, Verrett 8, and
Mosley.
Mosley 9.
Tony, you didn't have Verrett on your list. They saying.
I said Verrett. I marked everybody as I went down, but it's all right. Whatever.
So, do we need to add more help to the corner room in free agency?
I think you could see them bring in like a veteran that's just hanging on the market right now. There's a couple guys out there. Let's see. Where are these freaking guys? like Hayward from the Chargers is still out there. Malcolm Butler signed today with Arizona, so he's off the list. You have Bouye still out there. Quentin Dunbar, I know what's his name. Brian likes him. He's still available. Rasul Douglas was a guy that we were rumored to be interested at the trade deadline from Philly. He's a free agent. There's a couple names out there. It's going to be a low, like a guy that's just hanging out there with no interest on him, and they bring him in on a 1-year deal. Just to add competition, because you never know. Someone will get hurt in camp. Something could happen. So I think they'll bring in one more. I think we're good with the safeties. I just think they might add one more body at the corner spot with experience.
All right. I don't think they're going to bring in any more help in the secondary. Safeties included. I think they did something pretty smart. I think that they went out and they got insurance for the people that they're worried about. So like Tart, right? Can't stay healthy. They went and signed that safety. I think that they're similar roles because that guy's not going to be the free safety. He's going to be a box player. You know what I'm saying? He's older. The speed isn't quite there. You want him close to the line of scrimmage where he can be more decisive, use his experience, and then get to the line faster, right? So when you're looking at the secondary, I know that Verrett is injured often. You know, last year was his longest time being healthy, right? He was healthy all 16 games, but he didn't play all 16, if I'm not mistaken. So
I think he was on the COVID list, wasn't he?
Did Verrett hit the COVID list? I know that the first game Sherman played.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So I think it was Sherman and was it Sherman and Verrett or was it Sherman and Mosley?
It was Sherman and Mosley. Remember we were arguing if Witherspoon started that one?
That's
Sherman was
crazy.
out.
That is crazy that they started with Sherman and Mosley and not Sherman and Verrett. There's no way that was the starters for week 1. Was it really? That is nuts. All right. So are we confident in the secondary that we're taking forward right now? If we had to put this secondary on the field, that's a good secondary, right? We're assuming health for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, I would look for them to either get a corner, nickel corner, in either late like free agency or obviously address it in the draft. Because right now we're still in the same position. If we were all talking about who's going to be our starting corner and in nickel before Shark was signed, and now we're at the point where he's signed, but what happens if he's not healthy? Because he's coming off an injury also. So what happens if he gets hurt? Who's playing there?
Well, yeah, we're doing it based off of just assuming everyone's healthy right now. But I do get what you're saying. Like it's a super valid point. But we can't, we kind of have to operate right now as if everyone's going to be healthy. Because if anybody's injured, then what?
I'm just saying because they went out and got backups for Tart. Like they backed up positions of guys that were injured and things like that with the strong safety. Tarvarius Moore for free safety, obviously. You got a shit ton of corners. But there's not a ton of those guys that play nickel. I mean,
yeah, no, you're right. Mosley can slide in there, but then who's the other
right.
outside guy?
Then who's the outside guy? So that's why I was saying maybe that a nickel corner, but
okay.
I highly don't see. I see it more in a draft, as in because I mean Dante Johnson, didn't he play slot last year too a couple times?
Yes, he did. At the end of the year, it was him in there.
Yeah, he played slot when whatchamacallit went down when why am
Taylor.
Tate, not Tabor. Taylor.
Jamar Taylor.
Jamar, that's it. Jamar Taylor.
Yep, good call there, Tony. So you know what, Nick, that's a really good point. I didn't think about that. There is no backup right now on the roster for the nickel position. That's a really, really good point.
Unless they like Dante Johnson there.
Right. Which is a big step up because when he came out, he was really stiff. And to be a person in the nickel, you have to have fluid hips. You got to be able to change direction pretty quickly and smoothly. So that speaks volumes for him. What's up, Tony? I see you. Go ahead. You can jump in.
I think Calhoun's going to play the nickel. If
really?
I remember correctly. Yeah. I'm trying to look it up just to make sure, but I think Green, Brody, Calhoun, blah, blah, blah. I'm trying to find out.
That would be interesting because then it goes back to what Nick was saying, and they have signed backups for all the positions or players of concern on the roster. As we continue to do this breakdown, we'll discuss that more. But I really think that's what the plan was this offseason was, let's get our guys back and let's get someone behind them just in case one of them falls short. The faithful were really excited about Jamar Taylor. It's crazy. I got it here and the mic is over here. It's nuts. But we were all excited about Jamar Taylor possibly coming back and we get Sharp, but I didn't know that what the hell is the guy's name Tony's talking about? Possibly
Brody Calhoun.
Yeah.
I didn't know that he was a nickel guy. So that's interesting. All right. So we went from Juice. We're not signing backup fullbacks, right? We know that Ross Dwelley could fill in that role. So he was someone that could do that.
Well, you also have
Hoykett?
Yeah.
Is it him
Hockett,
or
you got Hockett there? You got Dwelley. You got Charlie Warner. Like those tight end positions that can fill in there. And then what's the other running fullback's name? Not Hockett. There was another one, wasn't there? Can't remember.
I thought it was just
Hockett. Anyway.
I could be wrong. I'm always wrong about shit. All right, so let me see if there's an actual other fullback listed on the roster. Let's see. It's Juice.
No, it's just Hoykett and Juice.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. It's eerie how similar they are in build too. Nuts. All right, so we went from that to the secondary. What was the next signing after that? We didn't bring back any receivers. Did it go right to Trent? Was Trent the next one?
No, there was a bunch of small ones in between. There's I think they announced.
Wasn't it? I think it was Ibukam next.
Okay. So they went edge. After that. So then you look at the edge situation, right, and who they have here. If you look at the roster here, let's see. Who do we have for defensive linemen? You got Willis.
Ross Dwelley and Marcel Harris. They were the next two.
Right. They had the yes. You're right. But we talked about both of them already. We touched on those guys, right? We talked about Ross Dwelley being the
Daniel Helm was included with them.
Yeah, Daniel Helm and another law offensive lineman guy. Wasn't Helm with another offensive lineman guy?
He might have been with Brunskill.
All right. Let's see here. Oh, Daniel Helm was the Brianne Bodie Calhoun. That was the guy that we brought in with him. And then after Daniel Helm and Calhoun, it was Samson Ibukam. Then it was Trent Sherfield, the wide receiver. Then it was Dante Johnson. Then it was Tavon Wilson.
All right, well, let's do them in order. That's what we were trying to do. We're going to do them in the order of how they sign people. So after we got done the secondary people, who was next?
That's another guy we forgot about. Mark Fields, the second. He was the very first one. We claimed him off of the waivers from the Houston Texans.
I forgot about that guy.
The corner,
yeah,
Mark Fields.
I forgot.
That's why I was thinking 9. I remember having. So he's not on the roster yet either.
That makes it 10.
Yeah, but I wasn't sure if before Tony said that Anderson was a corner because they have him as a DB instead of a corner listed on the roster on the one that I was looking at. So that was my 9, and then I went back and I had 9 still. So that's 10. So then so let's go Mark Fields real quick because we did that, right? So the next one on 3-5, which was March 5th, was Ross Dwelley and Marcel Harris to 1-year extensions, and then we declined the option for Mark Njoku.
Right. So we let Mark walk. But then we know about now the tight end position. Let's stop here for a second. This is where I think we could possibly see a signing before the draft or even one after the draft. Reed is still out there. He's familiar with the system. He looked good. I don't think his injury was like career ending, and he's going to be really cheap, right? Wouldn't Reed be cheap? And we only have 3 tight ends on the team right now, right?
No, you have Helm, Dwelly, Kittle, Warner, and Chase Harrell.
Oh, shit. I forgot about Harrell. Damn.
Yeah, so I think – go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead. You got it.
No, I was just going to say that's why I don't think that we do another tight end, because we have 5 guys that are going into camp, and usually he likes to keep 3 or 4 of those. Charlie Warner was a higher pick. For him, that's his guy. Obviously, Kittle, and then signing Dwelly to an extension. And those 2, I could see maybe if one of the tight ends go down, maybe a late acquisition of Jordan Reed, bringing him back in, kind of like he was where Toilolo was, where he just kept coming back and going off, coming back, going off. So, but I think we see a lot more of Dwelly this year too, to be honest with you.
All right. Well, we know for damn sure that Kittle can't stay healthy. So, Tony, knowing that, did you go with the roster that you have, or what do you think about bringing back someone like Reed, or maybe someone else you have in mind? That's not going to cost a lot of money, but a productive player.
I mean, I would consider Reed because they always wanted to pair Reed and Kittle at the same time. It never happened last year. But we could always draft somebody. It doesn't have to be a signing. I'm sure they'll pick somebody up as an undrafted free agent or even draft someone in the latter part of the draft. There's a couple names out there that are pretty solid players, but we'll wait for the draft show for that as it gets closer.
All right. Let's get some order in the court here. Okay, so we talked about the secondary already. We just
do you want to know what the next move was?
Yeah, what was that one?
The next move was Daniel Brunskill and then release Ronald Blair.
All right, so let's stick with the offensive line here. All right, we'll go back to Brunskill. Now, guys, this is where I think the Niners really shined this offseason. I really, really do. I think free agency, the offensive line is where we put ourselves back in playoff position. All right. And I could be way off here, but you guys let me know what you think. All right. If you look at that offensive line, we still have Kafusi. All right. So I have here Jake Brendel, right? Corbin Kaufusi. Is that right? Is he still on this roster?
What position?
We're offensive line. Kaufusi is here.
Yes, we have him.
Shepley, Lincoln Tomlinson, Isaiah Williams, right? Justin School, Mike McGlinchey, Trent Williams, Sean Coleman. That's all I have. Am I missing somebody? I'm probably missing a center.
Did you say Brendel?
Alex Mack. Weston Richburg technically is still on the roster. Yeah, I did say Brendel. I did. So that now let's talk about the offensive line. Where's the biggest concern right now, guys?
I would say go ahead.
No, go ahead, Tony.
I would say maybe if they want to focus on putting Brunskill at right guard, they would have to bring either draft or bring Garland back to back up Mack. So if they want to keep Brunskill on the right side and use Brunskill and McKivitz to compete for the right guard spot, I would bring Garland back. I would draft somebody. I definitely would draft somebody to groom to take over for Mack maybe next year or the year after. But, I mean, I can't see this team. I think they're pretty much set in their starting 5 right now. I can't see them make any big moves unless it's something similar like when they drafted McGlinchey and they traded Brown. That's the only thing I could see. But, I mean, I think it pretty much stays intact, and the offensive line as a unit should improve just because with the addition of Mack. on that offensive line.
All right, Nick, I know you wanted to jump in. Go ahead. What are your thoughts on it, man?
My weakest link is probably I'm gonna agree with Tony, but I'm gonna go with the right tackle position. I actually like Brunskill. I think not that I don't like McGlinchey either, but in pass protection, I think he's the weakest link on that line. But going forward, man, like they definitely hit it out of the park here. And you hear every single person talking about it, about how if you look at Kyle Shanahan's system, every year that he did well, whether he was an offensive coordinator or a head coach, he had an experienced veteran-type center because in his offense, it's not all offenses. We talked about this before, but you heard Alex Mack, you heard Trent Williams say that Alex Mack is going to be a huge addition to this offense because of the fact that it's the brain. He's going to be the brains of the offense. And you heard Trent Williams say that. And I think it was kind of hitting at things last year as to where, you know, they're calling out the scheme. They're calling out what protection they're in. We didn't have that last year. So I think going out and getting a vet in Alex Mack and going back and look at Kyle Shanahan's system, he had his most successful years as a coach or an offensive coordinator when he had a veteran type center. So I agree, Mike. I think the starting five is locked up right now, unless, like Tony said, you see something on draft day where it's just we draft somebody else and trade one guy. But I think the starting five are locked up, and I think it's definitely I would say 100% better than what it was last year with health depending.
All right. I'm going to switch up the questions here, and we're going to stick with the offensive line. What position on the offensive line has the best depth, in your opinions? Dun, dun, dun. See, I threw you guys for an okie doke here, huh?
I would say the guards.
Guards have the best depth.
I'm going to be different. Yeah. I'm going to say the tackles because you just drafted Colton McKivitz. You got Justin School. You got Mike McGlinchey. You got Trent Williams. You got Brunskill who can play tackle.
McKivitz is playing guard, though.
Yeah, but he can play tackle, too.
Okay. Yeah. I just see him competing with Brunskill to start at right guard. That's what I thought. Well, yeah, he could play. You're right.
No, I agree with you. I mean, I think, like I said, I'm just going by number-wise and depth-wise what has the most. And I think we have more guys that can play the outside than the inside. But, Tony, you might be right. McKivitz might be primarily a guard. I can't remember correctly, to be honest with you. I thought he played tackle last year.
No, he was drafted. He played tackle at West Virginia, but when they drafted him, they were converting him to guard because his arms were short on the shorter end.
So he had dinosaur arms.
They slid him inside.
But he did play tackle in college, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. He played all over. He played left tackle, right tackle, left guard, right guard.
Okay, that's probably why I was thinking that he can play tackle because I remember him coming out as a tackle. But I could have swore he played tackle last year when Mike McGlinchey went down. He came in and played tackle with Brunskill was at guard or Garland was hurt. Brunskill went to center. And then who played? So maybe it was McKivitz that played guard then. Maybe that's what it was. Either way.
There was so many damn injuries, bro.
There were so many moves last year as to who was in the game. So
crazy, right? All right, so I like both of the answers, and I asked that question to kind of prove a point. The offensive line is actually all right if everyone comes back healthy, right? If McGlinchey improves just a little bit, just if he just does just one more little, right? The offensive line is actually pretty good this year. If they're healthy, another year in the system, we'll be okay. I think we got a really good offensive line.
I think if healthy, it's the best offensive line in the NFC. to be honest with you, if healthy.
I like that. I like that, man.
And that's not just NFC West. That's the NFC. Like, I think their offensive line, I mean, you can look at the accolades and, you can say, oh, well, you have a 35-year-old center and you have a 33-year-old tackle. But I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, you've seen in 2019 when healthy, without a Trent Williams, without an Alex Mack, which are two guys that are upgrades over what was there before. I mean, you've seen what our rushing attack was like, and you've seen how the offense moved the ball. Now you add in a left tackle in Trent Williams and a center in Alex Mack. This line's that much better than it was in 2019 if healthy.
I like it. I like it. All right, Tony, let's do this, man. I got an idea. Give me a breakdown of the wide receivers. Tell me who we have, right? Let's talk about who we have as far as the wide receivers go and how you feel about that group. Again, we're assuming that everyone's going to come back healthy and ready to participate this year.
All right, we got Ayuk, Debo, Richie James, Jalen Hurd coming off an ACL, Benjamin coming off the COVID, River Craycraft was brought back on a one-year tender. They signed a guy by the name of Matt Cole. They just added Trent Sheffield. He's more of a special teams guy. Jawan Jennings, who's coming off a serious hamstring injury. They added Austin Prohl, who could compete for the slots position, and they brought back Kevin White.
All right, now here's my little question before you keep going. Why on the team website that has Sheffield in here already?
Sherfield, yeah.
Sherfield is Jordan Matthews still.
I was just going to ask that too, because I see Jordan Matthews is on here. Travis Benjamin's not.
Because I didn't think we had Jordan Matthews anymore.
I think Jordan Matthews was cut, but there's still some guys that are free agents on that roster, according to the site, that were not re-signed.
Tony, let's go down your list. I'm going to read off what I have for wide receivers. Tell me if they're on yours, all right?
Yeah.
Chris Thompson.
He's cut.
He's cut?
Yeah.
All right, Trent Sherfield. He's there, right?
Yep.
Debo Samuel.
Yeah.
Jordan Matthews.
No.
Richie James.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurd.
Mm-hmm.
River Craycraft.
Mm-hmm.
Matt Cole.
Mm-hmm.
Brandon Ayuk.
Yep.
So that's all I have on my list.
What about Kevin White or Austin Prohl?
Yeah, you should have Benjamin, Jennings, Prohl, and White.
Because White signed the future deal in like January or February, some shit like that, right?
Mm-hmm. And so did Prohl and Jennings as well.
All right, so give us your breakdown, man. Let us know what you think about the wide receiver group and how you think they fare.
I definitely think you need to add one more guy. Whether it's, I would actually add a veteran in free agency and draft a young guy too, because you got Debo coming off an injury, Jalen Hurd coming off an injury, Travis Benjamin opted out on COVID, so we don't know if he's definitely coming back. But right now he is on the roster. You have Jennings coming off an injury, so right then and there you have 3 question marks out of how many guys that I just named off. I think even Ayuk was banged up, but he finished the year, so you can't really count him. They lost Kendrick Bourne, so you have to replace him somewhere along the line. So I would definitely bring in a veteran, and I would definitely bring in a draft pick, and they will probably add a couple more in undrafted free agency as well. Right now, I think if all healthy, they're trying out Debo and Ayuk on day one. The slot receiver spot, it's tough because you don't know where Hurd is in his ACL recovery. You do have Travis Benjamin, who could play the slot. Craycraft is back. You have Jennings, who's a big physical slot wide receiver, but he's coming off the torn hamstring. And they signed Austin Prohl as well, who pretty much could play the slot. So I do think they need to add a couple more pieces to the wide receiver group, definitely.
All right. Now, we always, well, I won't say always, but I think we're going to draft some. Shut up, Nick. I think we're going to draft at least one wide receiver. Would you make a move in free agency though?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you would. Okay.
I would. I definitely would. I
that's
definitely think. I don't think you could put all your money on Hurd, Jennings, and Proel
or White
to play the slot because Proel's inexperienced. Those two are coming off injuries. Hurd can't stay healthy. So I think you would want. I think Kyle would want like a veteran to work the middle of the field to be the chain mover, if you will. Something that he tried to do with Trent Taylor, and obviously the foot wouldn't allow him to do it. You know, I said it before. There's Golden Tate out there. There's Amendola is out there. I don't think Sammy Watkins is a slot guy. I think he's more of the outside, and he would be too much money. Someone just put in here Will Snead. I think he's just a guy that'll just take the top off of your defense. And there's a couple guys in the draft that they could look at. The guy from South Carolina, Shoe Smith or something. I forgot his name.
Shy Smith.
I don't have his list, but you got Rogers from Clemson. Darby, I'm very high on. I think he could play the slot. And there was a couple other names that I just can't remember off the top of my head. But I do think they will sign like an Amendola or a Tate plus draft one of those guys because they do need to start. You know, you got to worry about these injuries. Are they going to recover? Like what happened with Trent Taylor? His career went with that injury. So now Debo has the same injury and he didn't finish the season. So now you just gotta be prepared just in case he does not play, he doesn't come back, or he does have to go for another surgery. So those are just a couple names. It's going to be interesting to see which route they go, but I definitely do think a veteran and a rookie will come in.
Now, here's the contribution here with the wide receivers. What do y'all think about drafting wide receiver Damai Brown? I'm not.
Miami Brown?
Is that it? Diami?
I think so.
Okay. In the second round, he's a beast. Ayuk 2.0, run 3 receiver sets a lot. He was the best deep wide receiver in NCAA.
I don't think they're going to go in round 2. If they do go in round 2, I don't even know if this guy, because this guy's on fire right now from what he just did at his workout. The kid from Purdue, Moore. You want to talk about a slot receiver? That is a slot receiver. The guy is fast as lightning. He can run the routes. He's quick in and out of his breaks. That's somebody that if they are going to pull the trigger, they might even have to jump back up into the bottom of round 1 to get this guy. There's rumors saying he ran a 4.2 something at his combine. So no, yeah,
He ran a 4.29.
So that's a guy that potentially could be there, but I don't think they're going to go that route. I think they'll go later in the draft. So, but Moore is your like typical slot guy. He's low, he's compact, he can run the routes. So that's just one name, and I mentioned the other guys also later on in the draft as well.
I really like Shy Smith out of South Carolina. I think he's like a Debo, another Debo. But Rondale Moore, he ran a 4.29. That dude's blazing fast.
Interesting, very, very interesting. Thank you guys for the contributions. Also, Alex Mack signing. Cheers from San Francisco. He's always giving us a cheer. Hey man, cheers to you too, bro. I'm with you, man. See, I put the SF right in the camera there. You see? All right, so that's the wide receiver breakdown. I'm not going to touch on it. Nick, let's break down the running backs, bro. Let's talk about these running backs because as much as I love our running back group, I think we might have to add somebody there because health is a major, major concern in this group.
Yeah. I'm pulling up the running back now.
So this 49ers website is just trash. Like we can't. It's weird because they have Sherfield on here, but Chris Thompson on here also. Like, why would they have him listed and not the other guy removed? And Jordan Matthews, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you're gonna add somebody, you can just delete the other person. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Right now we have JaMychal Hasty, Mostert, Austin Walter, Jeff Wilson Jr. Am I forgetting anybody?
No, that's it.
That's it, right? So Hasty was injured last year. Moser was injured last year. Walter played like what, 1 game?
Yep.
And Jeff Wilson Jr.
Played a lot of special teams, but actually carrying the ball was like 1 game.
Just 1 game running, yeah. And then Jeff Wilson Jr. was injured last year too, right?
Did Jeff get injured?
I thought he had a
games.
hamstring something.
That's when Jermichael Hasty got the carries and he got hurt. Then Jeff Wilson came back.
Yeah. Look, you definitely have to do something here, right? And I understand, Tevin Coleman was supposed to be that guy that could get you those 3rd and shorts, right? He was supposed to be that guy. Then we looked at Jeff Wilson Jr. as that guy. I think you still bring in some type of competition. I think that these four guys, well, I'll say 3, Hasty, Mostert, and Wilson will probably be the 3 that are up. When we do our 53s, I got to remember how to say that, 53, 55. I think it goes back to 53 this year, right? But I'm not sure with the whole COVID thing. But I do want to see more of Austin Walter. They're all in the same range. Jeff Wilson Jr. is about 213 pounds. Walter's 202. Moser's 205. And then Hasty's 205. Wilson is actually the tallest of the group. I didn't even realize that. I thought he was shorter than Mostert. But yeah, these guys, I think you bring in another guy. I'm not sure if they go draft one of these running backs that are, I think they find a guy as their undrafted guy going into the season. You know how Kyle Shanahan is with his undrafted guys. I think every single one of the guys that are on our team are undrafted guys, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yo, shit. Yeah.
I don't think any of them have been ever drafted. So
let's go, Bobby Turner. Call back.
Stop it. Stop it. No, it shows you that in Kyle Shanahan's system, like the way that they scheme and run block, he's particularly a run guy, and that a lot of guys can do it. We talked about this before, but that's no hit to Turner or the guys that are playing, because they got to still run the ball. But the gaps and the holes that they use with all the misdirection definitely help the running backs.
Do you guys feel that this is a position that we could address before the draft?
No.
I don't think so.
Is this the biggest need on the team?
I don't think it's the biggest need.
Okay, is this the biggest concern on the team? Let me change it.
No, not for me. It's not the biggest concern. Me, probably the biggest concern right now is probably still I'm gonna go with the linebacking core. And the reason I do that is because if Fred Warner goes down, I understand Dre Greenlaw's there, but then we're at Dre Greenlaw, Aziz, and who?
Flanagan Foles.
Is Flanagan Foles still here? I thought he was released.
He's still here.
Right. So Flanagan Foles. To me, like, I don't know, man. We seen Hasty come in and perform like as soon as he came in. Like he was getting good runs. He was getting things until he got injured. Linebacker's a different position to fill if it goes down. We saw when we had to switch around with the whole Quan and Dre Greenlaw out type thing and leaving Fred on an island. So I'm going to go with linebacker as my most nervous position about. And it's not because of who's playing there, but if something were to happen, who's playing behind them.
All right, so let's stick with the linebacker. Let's keep breaking this position down here.
Well, wait, I want to hear what Tony has to say. Do you think that the running back is a big worry?
Oh, I thought
I'm the biggest worry because they got the most injured people.
Well, that's where I was going with that. Like, this is – if there was a group that you had to bet money was going to get injured, this is the one. This is the one. It's like every single one of them got injured last year. I think every single one of them got injured the year before also, if I'm not mistaken.
They never have like a true rotation. There's always somebody missing from the rotation. Whether it be Wilson, whether it be Mostert, whether it be Hasty, it's always like
Even when Breida was here. Even when Breida was here, he was in and out of the rotation all the time. But you guys would not address this before the draft.
I don't think that, because if you look at the names that are out there, like James Conner, Fournette's out there, Duke Johnson, I think he re-signed though, but I'll just say his name now. You have Todd Gurley, Le'Veon Bell. I wouldn't touch them. Wayne Gallman is a solid back, but he's like one of those undersized backs. Oh shit. Who else do we have? McKinnon, he pretty much said he don't want to be here, so don't let the door hit you in the ass on the way out.
He didn't say
Peterson,
that. He didn't say that. He knew the team wasn't interested, and so they were like, "Are you coming back?" He was like, "Man, fuck no."
Yeah, he said it.
If they called him, he'd come running. Don't kid yourself.
Yeah,
obviously, because nobody else wants him.
You don't have another job.
There's some names out there you could look at, like a TJ Yeldon, but I don't know if he's a good outside zone guy. Brian Hill with Atlanta, he's a pretty solid runner, but we could always go with Alfred Morris. But
no, we can't.
I think they're going to stick the way that they do it. I think they might draft somebody this year late though. Like maybe round 6, they might take somebody. I really like the kid from Oregon State. I think his last name is Jefferson. Let me see. Jamar Jefferson. I like him. He's projected to go like 4 or 5 in this one book. So it'll be interesting because he could do it all. He could catch, run, block. He's fast. He's got good vision. So I think that's the route they'll go. Or they stick to the undrafted route. They're pretty successful at it.
What if these guys are all undrafted because they couldn't stay healthy in the first place?
I don't think it's that. I think, number one, Jeff Wilson converted from a receiver to a running back. So right off the bat, he played in college as a wide receiver, and now a team wants to transition him to a running back. So I think that's one reason why he went undrafted. Mostert, he was a pure speed guy who didn't fit in 6 other teams' offensive plans. He was strictly a special team guy. Austin Walter, he was from, I believe, Rice. JaMychal Hasty, we all know about. So they're guys that seem like if they were on another team, they would not be in the NFL. This is the perfect offense for their skill set, and that's why I think there's success here. So it could be possible that they stick to their philosophy and just go the undrafted route because they have the ability. And this is part of like what I was trying to say through text message yesterday with the whole coaching thing. Who is more important? Bobby Turner is at the point of his career where he's just straight evaluation. He's trying to find that guy that could what he sees on film in college and vision and transition him to this system. He has to project it. And that is what he is good at right now.
So you're saying that
their running styles, they developed that like in Pop Warner High School. Either you have it or you don't. You either have the vision, you have the speed, you're that guy that'll just bowl people over, and that's how you go, like through your whole collegiate career into the pros. That is the type of runner you are. What they could work on is pass protection and shit like that, ball security, and give you tips like on a couple like steps as far as your footwork, and instead of taking like a false step out of the I formation, but that's just that Bobby Turner's so good at just seeing it and projecting it to the Niners offense, and that's why they've been so successful through the years, not only with the Niners, with Atlanta, with Denver. So, and if you look at their track record, they really never had a top draft pick.
So you're saying Bobby Turner is a glorified scout?
Basically.
That's mad disrespectful, Tony.
Why is it mad disrespectful? He has the ability to find the right people to fit the system. That's a compliment.
He's coaching these guys. You don't. All right. Okay.
Listen, it's you got to understand something. coaching a running back and coaching a quarterback or coaching a defensive end or a defensive tackle are all different philosophies. When you're coaching a running back, you're standing there like this and you're just watching him do his thing.
Let me ask you this. Who were the running backs here? How long is it? Bobby Turner came with Kyle Shanahan, right?
Year 1, 17.
So he had Carlos Hyde his first year with who was behind Hyde? Because Hyde was the bell cow.
Shane Drone? No, that was with Chip Kelly, I think.
No, that was Chip Kelly. Hyde was the bell cow.
It was Breida.
Yeah,
was
Matt
Breida.
Breida.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because Breida was behind Hyde, and then Breida took over in the system. Once Carlos Hyde left.
I don't think he ever took over. Not when Hyde was here. That was the closest they came to like a one-back like thing I've ever seen Shanahan do. Hyde was like the guy that year.
Yeah, so you go and you look at the guys that were here since, other than Carlos Hyde, who was a leftover regime guy on a last year of his contract,
Right.
not making a whole ton of money, and then it wasn't really one of Bobby Turner's guys. And you've seen how the transition just started to take over with Carlos Hyde there. Obviously, Carlos Hyde had a lot of injuries as well. Tim Hightower was there that year too. I forgot about him. Alfred Morris.
But these are all guys that were in Washington.
I know, but I'm saying they came over.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So what did Bobby Turner do to Carlos Hyde to make him anything as in coaching wise? He didn't scout him. He didn't watch him. He just coached him, right? To where he brought guys in that he's scouted and coached before. Tim Hightower, Morris, and then undrafted guys. So, like, who was the only running back that the 49ers drafted so far in Kyle Shanahan's tenure?
Williams.
Where's he at?
So what does that mean?
I just think this team doesn't look at the drafting position for running backs as high as most people think. I think he likes to find guys that have certain attributes, and if they go undrafted, he knows that he can work with them if they fit his system. I think, drafting a guy in the second or third round where he hasn't been successful, and, Joe Williams is a guy that, could have fit this system, but for whatever reason, he couldn't make it.
I gotta be honest with you. Joe Williams was a phenomenal fit. He just didn't have it.
Oh yeah, he just did for whatever reason he didn't have it and didn't work for whatever.
That bowl game at Levi Stadium where he ran for over 200 and something yards. He hit the edge and nobody was coming near him, and he just didn't have it in him. That's all it comes down to. But it's not a knock against Bobby Turner at all. It's just he's in the point of his career. I mean, his job is just to find the person and try to get them to fit, identify that person. Because another thing, Mike, is Bobby Turner's been offered offensive coordinator spots over the last probably 5 to 8 years that he's been in the league, and he's turned them down every year. He don't want it. He just wants to do his thing with the running backs. So
that's like Kosuric doesn't want to leave the defensive line position.
Yeah. So I just feel like, and don't forget,
21 years old.
Yeah, and don't forget, what's his name? McDaniel's got his hand in the pot too with these running backs.
Now, yeah.
So, it's just not Bobby Turner. I'm not knocking Bobby Turner. He's a great person. He's a great coach. He's a great talent evaluator.
Great scout.
Listen, there's no problem with that. There's no problem with that. I would be, if I had a job as a running back coach and I could take an undrafted free agent and put him in the top 10 in rushing in the NFL, you can call me an asshole if you want. I'm productive. You know what I'm saying? That's an accomplishment. That's all it comes down to.
I'm gonna get Bobby Turner on the show. I'm gonna get him on, and I'm gonna be like, "Hey, I'm not pointing any fingers, but the other two guys on this screen, other than me and you, they think you're a scout. I'm not saying no names or nothing, but they don't think you coach. They think you just say, hey, that guy fits, and that's it."
No, I didn't say that. I didn't say he didn't coach. I said he couldn't coach up Carlos Hyde.
It's different. Coaching running backs is different, Mike. It's hard. It's very hard to explain. I'm telling you, it's different.
All right. I don't want to waste time. I'm gonna move on. I digress. I'm gonna back away. All right. So we've gone through the entire offense except the quarterback. We're gonna save that for the end. We talked about defensive line already, right?
Did we? No.
Yeah, we did. We talked about defensive line. Oh no, we didn't go through it in order. All right. So Nick, you got the list of D linemen over there? Let's break that thing down here and let's talk about the depth there, and then we can see what we think or if we need to add anybody else over there. By the way, you guys see that Reed is out in Seattle?
The defensive tackle.
Yeah, Jamar Reed.
So is he wants out because they wouldn't give him an extension. They want him to take a pay cut so they can make some more, some more money. And he's saying, well, then extend me, not just rework me and give me a pay cut. And they said no. Now he's like, all right, well, then I want out.
Yeah, and they tried to trade him too.
So what does he think he's going to come out and make more money if they let him go? Or is this a principle thing? Like, because oh, never mind. I don't know. I don't know why I care.
They did a lot of moves over there too because they brought in J.J. Watt, Carlos Dunlap went back,
They didn't bring in J.J.
Barry
Watt.
Hyder.
Why'd you say J.J. Watt?
Not J.J. Watt. That was Arizona. Carlos Dunlap, Kerry Hyder. Who was that other defensive lineman they just brought in? I have to look it up, but I don't remember. But they just brought in like 3 guys defensively.
All right.
So ours is
Wait, hold on before you do that. Gallagher, we aren't talking prospects yet. We're going. I don't even know who Zamir White is. I don't know who that is, but I didn't want you to think we were ignoring your contribution. Guys, I promise you, the draft isn't until April 29th to May 1st. We have all month of draft coverage coming to you guys as soon as April gets here. I promise you guys.
Yep.
I promise you. I know you guys want us to dig deep into the draft and stuff, and you guys want to know our opinions on all these different prospects. We get into it now, or last week or the week before. The whole last month leading up to the draft is going to be very boring. So we are spacing this stuff out. We told you guys it's a long off season. We're doing this for the long haul. I promise you guys, we will get to the draft stuff. I promise. All right, Nick. Sorry, I didn't want to cut you off, buddy.
No, you're good. Let's see. Eric Armstead, Alex Barrett, Nick Bosa, Coatney. I forget his first name. Josiah. That's it. What's Daniel's first name?
Brunskill.
No. Oh, Darian. Darian Daniels. Samson Ibukam. D. Ford. Kevin Givens.
I heard it's Ibukum. Ibukum.
Ibukum. Okay, Ibu. I know it's Ibu. But come. Whatever.
Sosa.
Yeah, Sosa. Then hold on, I lost my place. Oh, Deshaun Hall, DJ Jones, Zach Kerr, Contavia Street, Jordan Willis, Javon Kinlaw. Is that everybody you had, Tony?
Did you name D Ford?
Yeah.
Okay. You said Barrett, right?
Yeah, Alex Barrett, yeah.
Yeah, man, it was Ford, Givens, Kinlaw Street, Coatney, Hall, this is Kerr. You said Jordan Willis?
Yep.
Jones, yeah, that's everybody.
This has to be the deepest part of the roster. So, Mike, what are your thoughts on that? What do you want to talk about with that? That's all the guys right there. So this year we brought to the team Kerr, brought Willis back, D Ford restructure. Sosa was an addition. And that's it.
So I was listening to the Better Rivals podcast. I'm pretty sure it was the Better Rivals. And if you guys listen to them, they're all stats and PFF and DVOA, right? It's just numbers to them, right? And so they were saying that they think Kerr should be the starter. Well, the starting nose tackle or and I was listening to what they were saying, and it was all basically because of his PFF stats and pressure rate per snap is how they came to that conclusion. When I called my cousin to ask about him, he was saying he shouldn't be a starter anywhere. So that means that the truth probably lies somewhere in the middle. And when I talk about my cousin, he's the Panthers fan. He's the diehard Panthers fan. Like, he watches and talks about Panthers the way that we talk about the Niners, right? So what have you guys actually watched anything on Kerr? Have you looked into him? Tony, you're saying yes. All right, resident GM, let's talk about it. Is he better than DJ Jones when Jones is healthy?
He's very similar to DJ Jones. He's just more of a hype guy. He's more vocal, very similar statutes. DJ's 6 foot 315. This guy Kerr is 6'1", 325, 330. Big physical run plug-in nose tackles, or zero technique, one technique, whatever the hell you want to call it. But he's good, and you got to remember something. They love building a beast up front with this defensive line. And that's what they're doing. They're going to trot out DJ Jones. They're going to trot out Kinlaw with the ones. Then you come back with Kerr and Givens. You want to talk about depth, rotation, and keeping legs fresh? That you're not going to get better than this as far as the interior. And you're not even talking about Darian Daniels yet. You're not even talking about the Coatneys, the freaking Contagious.
Did you say Givens?
Well, yeah. That's going to be the back two. It's going to be DJ Jones and Kinlaw first. Then the backups to them would be Givens and Kerr. So I mean, I like him. I like the signing for a 1-year deal. He's highly rated according to PFF. You know, if that makes a deal to you, but I just like what I've seen from him. He's an intense guy. He's a nonstop motor, and it's a perfect fit for Kocurek. So,
we got to look at schemes too, because our defensive front is always taught to do less, right? As in, this is what you do. Carolina, you don't know what he was asked of. You don't know what was asked of him to do. You know, same thing that Sosa said from coming over here. He's like, look, I played defensive end on the line almost my whole career. I had to change over to outside linebacker with the Rams, and I didn't even get to showcase half of what I could do. He's like, that's why I like this defense. Because, you know, I think it was Kiana that asked him, well, what do you like so much about this defense? He's like, I just like that my fit here is I'm going to be able to showcase what I got, because there's not a crazy amount of thinking. It's just a straight line and go. Like, do what you have to do. I think that kind of fits into the similarities with going to Kerr too. Kerr is a bigger guy. He's powerful. You know, he plugs up the hole pretty well. I think he had like nine quarterback hits last year in 2020. You know, so look, just do your job. And like Tony said, the rotation is what helped us win a lot of those games in 2019. We were keeping guys fresh on and off the field. And I think that that's really important here, and I think he fits in perfectly. But I don't know, you know, DJ Jones, I told you last year I felt like DJ slowed down a lot compared to what he was the year before. You know, I didn't see that same DJ Jones last year that I saw the year before that. And he did say that he was nursing ankle injuries. So that could have been a reason. This was his first DJ Jones' first offseason where he didn't have a nagging ankle injury. So maybe that's what it was last year. You know, but for some odd reason, he didn't stand out to me as much as he did the year before. So if he comes back healthier, it could be that battle in camp. Who knows?
And to be honest with you, I feel like if these guys are all healthy across the board, this whole defensive line group that's on my paper right here, if they're 100% healthy, this defensive line is better than the Super Bowl one, because you have more versatility. You can go to a speed package, a big physical package. You can go to a base package. And, you know, you could trot out Bosa and Armstead in the interior with Ford and Sosa on the edges, two speed guys.
Talk your shit, Tony.
And, you know, you want to talk about when the Giants had the NASCAR? Well, this will shit on that. I can tell you that. With those two speed demons coming off the end, it's all about versatility. And if you look at John Lynch's playing history, what did he play with in friggin' Tampa? He had Simeon Rice. He had Warren Sapp. He had Brad Culpepper. He had, I forgot the other end's name, but another speed demon. Then what did he do? He went to the Denver Broncos. Who was there? Andre Ware. Who was the other freaking guy? But everywhere he went, the defensive lines – the defense were built from the front back. Okay. If I ask you guys right now to name the starting cornerbacks for the Super Bowl team of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, you're going to all say, what, just Rondé Barber? That's it. You don't know who was starting opposite of him because it wasn't about that. It was about that front seven, speed. You had Brooks. You had Nickerson. You had guys that just fly. And that's what this defense is. That's how he built this defense.
You could go back to the hardball defensive line here with the Niners, where you didn't know what the hell who their corners were. Their corner, Brown and them. Like as soon as they left here, what were they?
Exactly.
I know who they were, though. I won't say that they were nobody.
Well, you won't. But you're a team. You're a fan of the team, so you know them. But if you ask a fan of another team, they're not going to be able to tell you who those corners are.
No, you're right. You're right. You're absolutely right. But just real quick, Tony, disrespecting my guy, Booger McFarland. He was on that Tampa team too. Don't sit there and try to discount my guy. That's a friend of the show. It's a friend of the show. A good friend of mine. Okay? Yeah. Can't leave out Booger, baby.
But Tony, could you imagine putting D Ford and Bosa on the same side with either Javon, Eric, or somebody in the middle, and then having Samson or on the other side?
They have so many different ways they could do it. They can come out and overload one side and put the speed guy all the way to the opposite side in a wide nine technique and blitz somebody up the middle with a linebacker. And you can't – it's very hard to defend. And that's what they did. They built a beast up front. Yeah. They have big physical players on the interior of this defensive line. I don't give a shit what anyone says. Buckner, everyone's mad that Buckner left. Well, Buckner wanted $22 million. It is what it is. He's a good player. I just can't see you maintain a team, a roster, when you have to pay a defensive tackle $22 million, where Aaron Donald is only getting $21 million. Is single-handedly the most destructive player in the league as for one person. So they went out and got the next best thing, Kinlaw. Yeah, he started slow, but towards the end of the year, he was giving people fits.
My man is jacked, bro.
Nick, you did this already. I'm not letting you do this again, bro.
I don't care, bro.
With you and Breezy, and I was like, Nick needs a moment by himself.
Bro, it's not even about that. Like, I just never realized he was that big. Like these guys are like crazy, but Mike, Tony, you're right. This defensive line is going to be sick.
They have to be healthy. That's the key.
Bro, if we can D Ford looks like he's going to play. Like, from what I've seen, he looks like he's going to play. If you can utilize him as just a third down specialist and rotate him in and out with Sosa or Bosa or whoever it is and keep them healthy and fresh, yeah, you're 100% right. This defensive line will be that much better than 2019.
I think we're all in agreement for the first time on the show's history. Defensive line is the deepest and best position group on the team right now?
I think it is.
Yeah, 100%.
This is another Niners first. Oh, let's stop the show. We're happy. Good show. Good job, guys. All right. Thank you guys for No, I'm kidding. Don't start leaving. I'm sorry. Let me watch the viewers. All right, we're good. We maintain. I'm sorry. All right, so then that's good then. So I'm going to assume that no, we don't need to address it before the draft gets here. Are we content with what we got, right?
I will say if they do address it, that's not a good sign for D Ford. If they add a guy high.
What if they pick up a defensive tackle?
No, I'm talking about the edges. I don't think they'll take a defensive tackle. I don't think they need one. They don't need one.
Could this be the first year that we don't draft a defensive lineman in the first?
No, because I still think it's possible.
If D Ford is not where he needs to be by that draft, I mean, listen, you could jog all you want in shorts and a T-shirt. It's about when you put the pads on and you're making contact. So if if they're getting a feeling on him that he's not going to be able to handle that, and they'll take somebody high in this draft, definitely, and it's going to be the similar type to what D Ford is, the type of player he is.
Bro, I think this is the first year we don't draft the defensive lineman in the first round. Well, actually, I can't say that because we drafted Mike McGlinchey.
McGlinchey was the only first-round pick that year, right?
Yeah, Mike McGlinchey was the first round. That was it. I keep forgetting about him.
And they've regretted it since, so they're going back to what works. Defensive lineman, just not Solomon Thomas. So, all right. Did we discuss the linebackers in depth? Did we run down the whole roster of linebackers?
No, I can read it real quick. It's Flanagan Falls, Dre Greenlaw, Warner, Jonas Griffith, and Aziz Al-Shahir.
All right, so this is my question to you guys, because I keep hearing people say that we need more. I like the trio of Warner, Greenlaw, and Aziz, right? I keep hearing people say we need more depth, because if one of these guys go down, then what? But you can't have a backup for every single starter on your roster. Is this one where we need to have more for backups?
You do, because your backup linebackers are your source of your special teams. So we lost 2 special team players, Joe Walker and Nzaucha. You need to replace them because now you have 2 openings on your special teams.
But
you really don't see defensive linemen sprinting down the field. It's majority of safeties, corners, running backs, fullbacks, tight ends, linebackers that make up your special team units.
Right. But Sosa played linebacker, and he was on the Rams special teams unit. Yeah. So that replaces one of them there.
Yeah.
Well, it depends on where he puts them at in the position-wise. Because I don't think he's going to be playing outside linebacker here. I think he's going to be playing defensive end.
But he's still going to be a gunner on special team. He'll still do that role.
Yeah.
Move him to a defensive lineman doesn't mean that he's not going to still play special teams.
Right. Yeah.
So, I mean, I know everyone keeps saying it. I don't think that it's another position of need. Now, if they draft somebody, that's different, right? If you go out and you get somebody in the draft, especially like you said later in the rounds, he's going to have to solidify himself on special teams because he's not cracking that starting lineup unless Aziz somehow takes a major step back. So I don't think that anybody we draft is getting in this lineup. Even if we draft somebody,
another thing, they want a competition for Aziz.
I think you can upgrade over Aziz, to be honest with you. I mean, I like the kid, but he's also, just because he has really good speed, but he's not the best tackler. Like, I mean, we saw when he had to move inside and play a couple games of how he was. I think you can easily upgrade over Aziz.
Right.
The problem with Aziz is
where he plays. Oh, go ahead, Tony.
The problem with Aziz is they're in nickel so damn much. Aziz is irrelevant. So when they're in base, then you have to worry about it. But you're in nickel more than you are in base in the league today. So that's why I think they'll invest big.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at, is that where the position he plays naturally in our system, there's not much of a need for. You're not drafting that replacement. You know what I'm saying? Now, again, if you get it later in the draft, then that's fine, but it's not going to be one of the first 3 rounds that you're going out there trying to get replacement for him.
I agree with that, but I was just saying when we're saying that somebody can't come in here and replace him, I think if they draft a guy that they like, no matter whether it's round 3 to 7, there is a chance for him to compete against him and replace him. I think you can upgrade at that position. And like I said, that's not anything against Aziz. I think he's good when he's a good dude, but I think there's a lot of to where he can improve when he's on the field.
And JT, we let your comment hang up here a long time. Yes, it was a joke. I'm glad you guys caught it and appreciated it, my man. All right. I just wanted to let you guys know it was just a joke. He said, what's the first name? And I said Brunskill. I know it was a joke. All right. A lot of fun. Ba-da-cha. All right. Now get this off of here. See you later, alligator. All right. So do you guys think we end up picking up a linebacker before the draft? Because that's the question we're asking for everything.
I think they could. They're in talks with a guy from Jerry from Philly. They're in with Hewitt from the Jets. Hewitt was a very productive linebacker from the Jets, so that means
last year, yeah, he got his opportunity to play more games, and
and even Jerry was productive. But I mean, that means they want to really push Aziz. So,
is that what you interpret by looking at this guy from the Jets?
Yeah,
right.
We could interpret other things, but
no, let's talk about the elephant in the room, man. Let's talk about it. They're looking at all these linebackers, and before it was like, all right, that's a depth piece. All right, that's a depth piece. But now they're talking about this guy here, and it's like, all right, well, you look at his production and what he's able to do. This guy is a starting caliber linebacker in the NFL. And now I want to know, is it possible the team is either preparing for a Fred Warner holdout or preparing to move on from Fred Warner because of a potential trade?
Could be. But now I think it kind of like bogged down because of what's going on.
I said before, I think when we were talking about the trade with Deshaun Watson, that I would not be shocked if Fred Warner was included in that due to the fact of his contract coming up so close. And we had to cut and save money. Look, it's a business. I'm not going to count anything out. You know, I wouldn't have thought that they traded DeForest Buckner either because of how much they loved him and talked about him. The same with Fred. But in the end, it's a business. And if you're not going to be able to come to terms and pay the guy, because he's going to deserve to be paid like one of the top 2 linebackers in the NFL.
He's going to get the biggest contract
right. But I'm saying, like, that's what I'm saying. So he's going to be one of the top 2 guys, probably the top linebacker in the league. And the reason we shipped off DeForest Buckner is because he wanted to set that record with defensive tackles. Now you go and say, oh, well, they did it with Trent Williams. Well, I think left tackle is a lot more of a more important position than a defensive tackle. So you give him that type of money. And I mean, I'm not going to say that they're going to trade Fred Warner, but that's always been in the back of my head. I think they would get rid of Fred Warner before they got rid of Nick Bosa.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I don't only think, all right, this is where I'm not going to put too much out there. I don't think Deshaun Watson is the only player the Niners would trade Fred Warner for.
I think Sam Darnold too.
I don't. Whoa. You don't? Wouldn't you rather give up a pick to get Sam Darnold?
Yeah, but I'm just saying if they're trying to offload money, I wouldn't be surprised. And it's Robert Saleh.
Okay.
So I'm not saying that I think that's a fair trade. I mean, obviously we would have to get something back. Sam Darnold, Fred Warner, and if you want to pick, we're getting something else back. But hey, you never know. It could be something in a move up.
Okay. All right.
In the draft. It could not even be for Sam Darnold.
I like the way you're thinking. I like it. Get those juices flowing. All right. So that's that. All right. So it's possible that we do sign someone. We heard the rumors about the Niners looking at different linebackers. It is possible that we go after somebody and somebody else in free agency at that position. We did corners. We did the secondary. So that leaves us with only what? And we're not doing special team, special kickers. We're not doing that. So the quarterback position is all that's left, right?
Yeah, we did the O-line, yeah.
Okay.
So it's just the QBs.
All right, so here we go. What does it say? In a potential Watson trade, keep Bosa and Warner, trade Kittle. That's what I would do. Kittle would be the first person I threw in there. And it's not because I don't like Kittle. I hate when people think that I don't like Kittle. I absolutely hate that. I just don't think that Kittle's style of play, which affects his availability, makes him worth that contract. I say you let him go. The money you would save, and you can get more production from somebody. As far as yards, you can get that from somebody else.
The problem,
if Shanahan's team was built the way he wants it to be, a tight end's never getting 1,000 yards here. That's my opinion.
The problem with most 49ers fans are they get so glued to players.
Mm-hmm.
And in the end, to me, like, yeah, I'd be hurt if Kittle got traded. I'd be hurt if Bosa got traded. I'd be upset if Warner got traded. But in the end, I'm rooting for the emblem that's on the helmet and the front of the jersey. So to me, it's a business, and you have to do what you got to do to make all things work, because there's going to come a time where look how much we sweat this year about how were we going to sign people because of the cap. Like, there's going to – look, if you go and you look at 2023, we have 25 guys on roster in 2023 with only like probably $25 million or $30 million accounted for in cap. So, like, it's going to come again to where when it's time to pay Nick Bosa and it's time to pay Nick Bosa and Fred Warner and, whoever else it may be, like Alex Mack isn't young in 3 years, like 2 years, like you don't know. There's a ton of things that you have to do to move on. And we as fans can't get stuck to a player. Like I understand getting stuck to Hall of Fame type players that played for the 49ers. But you got to look at this as a business. And while you may not like it, everybody's replaceable in one way, shape, or form.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm going to say this right now. They trade Bosa, I will lose my shit.
Yeah, no.
Telling you, this team has struggled for years to find a pass rusher, and they have one. You don't trade him. I'm sorry, you don't, because now you'll have. Huh?
Out of those three, Tony, who you trading first? Warner, Bosa, Kittle.
Bosa's definitely not even a candidate to be traded for anything.
No, he's saying out of those three, which one?
So no, I know. I'm just saying he's not even in the equation. So it would be either Warner or Kittle. To be honest with you, I just looked at Kittle's contract. I don't know how we could trade Kittle because it's almost $16 million in dead cap if it's pre-June 1.
For trade or a cut?
Trade. So it's kind of like, how do you even?
What is it post June 1?
Oh wait, no, that wasn't Kittle. I was looking up Nick Bosa. I'm sorry. Wait, I'll look Kittle right now.
And he's up what next year is his last year on his contract, isn't it?
Who?
No, he's got this year and next year, and then
the fifth year.
Yeah, like
right,
Kittle.
Right. That's what I was saying. But technically, until the fifth year option, he's only got next year. So this year that we're in, 2021, and then 2022.
What is going on here? This site sucks.
I don't want to ask what site you're using.
Are you using Over the Cap or
no Spot Rack?
I can't stand Spot
Rack. Haters everywhere.
Page unresponsive. Okay, so that gets a nice fuck you and keep moving.
I think that we could trade Kittle. I don't think it's going to cost that much.
So here's Fred Warner's numbers for you.
Fred.
Trade post June or pre June 1st.
He's still on a rookie contract, so
it's $252,000.
Yeah.
Dead money. Cap savings of $3,384,000. Same for post June 1st. And then I'll give you who did you want? Kittle?
Yeah. Tony, you had a great point, though, man. This team searched for a good edge rusher, and they finally got one just to trade him away 2 years later. I don't think so.
There's no way they could do it. It's
17-9.
17 to trade him
pre-June 1st.
Right, but what is it post-June?
That's what I'm getting right here. Post-June is $5,300,000.
Dun, dun, dun. You know what that reminds me of? The Deshaun Watson's contract. Post-June and pre-June.
That's dead money, and then $150,000 in cap savings. But next year you would save $12 million, and it would only be $4 million dead money.
See what I'm saying? So, did you give an answer, Tony, out of who you would send first?
I don't know. I really don't know. It's tough. I love what Kittle brings to that offense, and Warner is
healthy. He's always there. He's the best at his position in the NFL.
It's really tough because I know your theory is he's not going to have a long career because of his style, but there's more.
His age,
there's more to it than just him bowling people over. He's great in the run game, man. He seals that edge like no tight end I ever see, like Bavaro type blocking.
He's a really good tight end. He's one of the best tight ends.
And
but for 8 games a year? For 8 games a year?
Well, we're not going to get into that because he got hurt both these last 2 seasons from poor quarterback play. So you take the poor quarterback play, instead of him jumping 7 feet in the air to overextend himself and getting his foot caught, his knee buckled, he's healthy. His main issue is his shoulder, and he plays through it. So I don't know. I just feel I don't know. It's tough, man.
I'm not getting rid of Warner, and only for the fact that George Kittle's already paid. So Fred Warner's not out of those two.
So you're going to get rid of the cheaper guy.
You keep the guy that's already paid for and already accounted for compared to the guy. Dude, you're going to be paying him probably $20 million a year.
Linebackers don't make that much. What are you talking about, bro?
What's the highest? I'll tell you right now what the highest
linebackers don't make that much. He might top out at $14 million a year.
I would give him 15. I'd say 15. Yeah. His number.
Linebackers don't make $20 million a year.
Bobby Wagner's making 18.
That's his cap hit. That's not what his average a year.
That's his average a year. 18.
No.
What's his cap hit?
Bobby, and then CJ Mosley's the next one. His cap hit this year's $17,150,000. Bobby Wagner is the highest paid linebacker in the league right now.
Out of here.
At $18 million a year, 17 for CJ Mosley, Zach Cunningham 14.5, Miles Jack 14.2. He's gonna make $20 million a year.
I swear, in my head, I live in like 2003 still.
Bro, you said 10 million. What did you say? What was the number you said?
I said 14 or 15.
Yeah. So Zach Cunningham is at 14.5. Levante David's making 12.5 a year. Fred Warner's going to get
Jalen Smith, Quan Alexander, Anthony Barr, Shaq Thompson, Deion Jones, Miles Jack, Zach Cunningham, CJ Mosley.
What year is he on in his contract? What's his name?
Bobby Wagner?
Yeah. Is this the last year of his contract?
Hold on, I got to go back.
He's trying to see if it's like inflated because of the end of the deal.
No, next year he's making $20,350,000 next year.
He will not make that, I promise you. He will be cut or restructured. What did he make last year?
14. His cap number last year was 14,750.
And what did he make the year before that?
15.8.
Right there. That's the number.
What did you say?
14 and 15.
Right, but when you go to set new cap numbers, I'm telling you, he's going to be up there in the beginning of his years. And the 5th or 4th year, that contract, he's going to be at 22, 23 million.
That's what it's going to look like on paper. It's just like Trent Williams.
DeForest Buckner was getting $21 million either. What?
Trent Williams on paper looks like he's getting 23-1, but he's not getting that. He's not getting that the first 3 years. No. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it looks like. So I understand. I understand what you're saying. But Fred's not getting $20 million a year. He's not going to get that kind of money. Linebackers don't get that kind of money. I know what it looks like. I hear you, and I understand what you're saying, right? It's just like me saying, remember we were all talking like Trent Williams, 33 years old, I wouldn't give him more than $20 million a year, right? And then they were like, no, you got to reset the market. 23 million is the highest. You got to pay him over that, right? Everybody was actually right. Per year, it breaks down to 23.1 million a year.
Right, but it depends on your guarantees and all that other stuff you get.
But it's because that very last year is like $34 million. You know what I'm saying? Like that very last year, it jacks up his cost. Where if you look at just the first 3 years and then before the option, it's only 20 million a year. So everybody was right with saying I wouldn't pay him more than this, but you got to pay him this. Everybody was right, and so it's going to go to the same thing. What you're saying is it's going to average 20 million a year for Fred Warner's contract. You're absolutely right. But that's not the money he's really going to be getting.
Oh, I don't know what's going to directly go into his bank account, but his average a year is going to be around 20 million. You know, I find it funny because we're talking about that real quick. Albert Breer put out a tweet today, right? He says, just a refresher. Voidable years aren't team options. Because remember how we always talk about team options? He says they're literally fake years. Language usually reads that the remainder of the deal voids if the player is on the roster on X date, designed solely to spread out the cap hit for money spent with cash accounted for and bonuses. So those voidable years are basically fake years.
Well, that's what I said. I said it's the Anquan Bolden deal all over again with the voidable.
It kind of is a team option because the team has to decide whether to cut him. So it kind of is a team option.
Right. So they're not technically – so just like we were talking about where – well, I was trying to bring up is when we say we have an out. That is that out, right? Because it's basically a fake year, and it doesn't become an actual contract until April 1st of that year or whatever that date is on that year. But I just found that interesting that he basically said, yeah, they're fake years. It's just to move cap money around. So that's one of the ways that we talk about how you can move caps around.
All right. Good. So Brandon, thanks for the contribution. He says Watson may go exempt list for 2021, and if that happens, according to the CBA, he still counts against team cap. We're not paying that against cap for a player we can't use, plus potential suspension in 2020. All right, so that's being as negative as humanly possible. It counts against the team cap, but it's put on hold, and when he comes back, it resumes from where he started, where he left off. So even if he's on the exempt list for an entire year, when he comes back, his money is accounted for. It's in like an escrow account, but then it starts from there. It doesn't start his new deal. So even if he doesn't play this coming season and he doesn't play until 2022, it'll be on the last year of his rookie deal still. And the cap space has gone way up. It'll be fine. I'm not saying that we're going to go get him and it's worth it and all that shit. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just explaining how the exempt list works.
Well, I mean, plus you got to look at it this way too. Whatever, if a team goes out and trades for him right now, they're going to restructure his contract to where he's making the least amount of money that he can this year with voidable outs in his contract in case something happens.
They're not. He's not going to sign anything close to that. He's going to, when he gets traded, that contract is going with him. He's not going to sign. He's talking about Watson.
Yeah.
He's not signing another contract before
this year. They don't have to touch this year. Next year they would touch because this year he's only on the books for like 10 or 11 million. Next year it goes up to like almost 40. So what they could do is they could restructure his 40, convert it from cap hit to signing bonus,
right,
and lower it, and that's how you can manipulate it. So
I'm just saying, you don't think teams are gonna protect themselves if they trade for him right now with all the allegations going on?
That's why I don't think nothing's going to happen. I think all these teams are afraid. I really do.
I think in that whole situation, I don't want to get stuck on that, but in that whole situation, I think Deshaun Watson's more screwed about time limit wise, and the Houston Texans are time limit wise from the NFL. I think all the other stuff is going to be, figured out way before what the NFL figures out. And we know the NFL is a slow process of.
Well, the NFL was very proactive. They already reached out to the lawyer that's defending the females and asked for information so they can start their own investigation. They reached out to the police department for reports, and that's when we heard that there was nothing filed because the NFL
no criminal charges filed.
Huh?
There was no criminal filed.
Right. Yeah, the NFL reached out to the local police departments and said, "Hey, what's been filed against them?" And they were like, "Yeah, there's nothing here. It's only civil shit." So now they're going to start doing the criminal stuff, but there was nothing there before. So the NFL has been proactive because they need to know if they need to put him on the exempt list. What they don't want is for this black eye, not black guy. They don't want for this black eye to go out there and be taking snaps, and that's what's being discussed the entire game. You know what I'm saying? Like, here we are. Now we're talking about him because it's someone that we thought we could be potentially trading for, but this is the talk of the entire league right now.
Right.
And the NFL does not want that. We want you guys excited about the draft. We want you guys excited about your teams. They don't want that.
They want you to be excited that you boys and girls can go to Cleveland and watch the draft in person.
Why is there a Vikings fan in here talking shit?
Look at all these different styles.
Yeah,
man, we didn't have to be blocked the whole time. We were putting it all big and stuff. What are we doing, Nick? We got to step our game up.
That's new, though. That's new. That's new.
Oh, these are new. Oh, that's why.
Yeah.
All right.
I never liked that before. You never could pick which one it was.
No, yeah. So Brandon, I'm not saying that the money doesn't count against the cap. It absolutely does, but it's put into an escrow. He won't get it until after he starts playing again. That's what I'm saying. So it's not that the money doesn't count. It's just like it's I don't know how to explain escrow.
It's a savings account.
Yeah, it's like a separate account where if I owe Tony $100 million, right, and I'm making payments every month of $1 million, all right, you can have an escrow account that has the money there, and it'll pay it to him in the increments that we agreed to. It's like it's there for when he needs it.
It's like your mortgage. It's like your mortgage. You pay a mortgage. You pay a mortgage. X amount goes into an escrow account that pays your taxes.
Right. Or if you have a landlord and you're renting, and let's say your house, a pipe breaks or something, and your house is inhabitable, you put that. It's not like you don't pay your rent anymore. You put that money into escrow, right. And then when you can move back in your house, that money, you release that money to the landlord from the escrow.
Right. That's how it's supposed to be.
Right.
Idiots like never mind. Like people I know who say, "Oh, well, they didn't fix anything, so I'm not paying rent." That's not how it works.
Not how it works.
That's not how it works.
You can't go on bougie spending.
Yeah, that's not how it works. Put that money away. Trust me. Put it away. All right. So I think we did the whole group except for quarterbacks. Let's wrap this thing up here in the next couple of minutes, guys. We got to talk about the quarterbacks. There's only 3 on the roster. We have Jimmy Garoppolo, Josh Rosen, and Josh Johnson. Okay. Those are 3 quarterbacks on the roster. I think we're all content with those guys. John Lynch and Kyle have come out and said over and over they need to upgrade the backup position. I think this team actually has faith in Jimmy Garoppolo. I think with this new offensive line, they think that Jimmy can maintain his composure and feel confident again and be the Jimmy that we saw at the end of the Super Bowl run regular season. Be the Jimmy that we saw when he first came with the simplified offense. I don't think Kyle's afraid to revert back. I think Kyle wants to do more and wants to open this thing up, but I think that Kyle wants to win more than he wants to do that. If I have to win by doing X, Y, and Z instead of A, B, and C, then fine. We'll X, Y, and Z this bitch all the way through. What do you guys think about the quarterback position? And is this Minshew mania a thing? Because we got to talk about this. We haven't talked about it on this show yet. So let's talk about the quarterback position, guys. How do you feel about it, first of all? And do you think we address it before the draft? Tony, you take it.
You want to go first?
Go ahead, Tony.
All right. I think the quarterback position needs to be addressed. What do I think is going to happen? I think Jimmy will be here and he will play this year because of all the upgrades that they did to this offensive line. The key factor to me is, number one, they didn't touch his contract. And number two, when you start talking about and worrying about upgrading your backup, that's an issue because that means there's serious question about your starter, whether it's performance or it's health. The Niners have been on every quarterback that's been available, from Stafford to Darnold to Matt Ryan to freaking Flacco. I mean, everybody, Trubisky, everyone that was on the market, they kicked the tires or did their due diligence on them. So basically what I think is happening at 49-49 is there's a big whiteboard. On top of it, it's Jimmy Garoppolo. And then next to it, it's every quarterback that they could potentially get their hands on that's available via trade, via free agency, or via draft. And they're doing their due diligence on all those players, and they're trying to figure out the best way to go about this. I think we could all agree what Jimmy makes and how he performed and how many games he's missed since he's been a 49er. It doesn't line up, okay? The poor throws, the poor quarterbacking in the Super Bowl. There's games where he'll wow you, and then there's games where you're like, what the hell is he looking at? So I think this year, if there's a way that they could upgrade it, I think they're going to do it. And I think this whole thing with, the New England being the option A, Jimmy's option A, I honestly feel that the way this team operates is you saw it with Trent Brown and Mike McGlinchey. They keep their mouths shut until they lock the new person up, then they get rid of the old. So until they solidified a guy coming in, like, everyone was like, oh, shaking their head about Joe Flacco. From what I read today, like on Twitter and all these articles that come out, they went they really wanted Flacco to come to San Francisco. Now, what that tells me is this is a guy who's played for Gary Kubiak in Baltimore and actually outperformed Jimmy Garoppolo's 2019 stats. Played with Scangarello in Denver before he got hurt with his neck injury or back, whatever the hell it was. And for them to go after him, that tells me that he would have been the bridge potentially, or at least he would have been the backup. I think a deal, if once they solidify and figure out who that guy is and they can get him in here, Jimmy's gone. That's just my opinion. Whether it's going to be a draft, whether they move up in a draft, whether it's trading for Sam Darnold, Teddy Bridgewater, whoever the hell it may be, I do think that they are seriously looking to upgrade this. And if you listen to John Lynch and Kyle, the number one thing that they kept saying was, we're looking to upgrade our whole quarterback room. So guess what? That means everybody. So it wouldn't shock me in the draft day trade, once they solidify trading up for somebody, that they trade Jimmy to New England. I know people are saying, well, New England just signed Cam Newton. Yeah, well, if you look at Cam Newton's contract, there's only $3 million guaranteed. So that tells you absolutely nothing in what they believe in him and what they feel about him. Now, Gardner Minshew. Gardner Minshew's had ties to Kyle Shanahan in the Senior Bowl. Played very well in the Senior Bowl. I know they ran a brief offense of what Kyle runs in San Francisco at the Senior Bowl. And statistically, I wish Mike was here because he had the exact stats. I think it was 21-6 for 10 games for 3,200 yards in Jacksonville as a starter, with less talent around him, less coaching around him. And, you're not looking for this guy to come in and be your franchise quarterback. You're looking to bring him in. It's going to cost you late round picks. He's still 2 years under contract for under $1 million each year. And then you go get your guy in the draft. Now, who that guy is, I couldn't even friggin' tell you. But the difference is the play of Minshew, the play of Sam Darnold, the play of this one, the play of that one. And then you look at Jimmy, and the problem is Jimmy's like, there's something's not right. I'm not saying all these guys are better than Jimmy, but they move around the pocket better. They feel the pressure better. They make the throws that need to be made. Now, if you transition them into this offense where a player is schemed open on every play, all you need is a quarterback just to make that throw that's schemed open. We've seen it all year, guys running across the field wide open, and Jimmy don't see it. So that's just my quick overview of this. We do have Jimmy, we do have Josh Rosen, and we do have Josh Johnson on the roster currently. Do I think all three of these guys will be here when the 53 or 55 is? I don't think so. And it all goes by what they do, what route they decide to go, because I'm sure they have 5 or 6 different scenarios. So it's going to be interesting as we get closer to see what they do and how it pans out.
Very good rundown there. Nick, I can't wait to hear yours because then I'm going to go berserk after you.
I forget what the question was.
The question is about an overview on the position of the quarterbacks, and then this Gardner Minshew stuff.
All right. I do feel like this team is happy with Jimmy Garoppolo. I feel like they can win football games with Jimmy Garoppolo back there. I think upgrading at the center position was a big factor and helped in that position as to keep Jimmy Garoppolo because of the fact that, you heard them guys say that center in this offense is the brain of this offense. As in, we look at last year. Last year, Jimmy got hurt, obviously. Last year, Jimmy made a lot more mistakes across the middle of the field, throwing the linebackers than he did the years before. Then you go into our offensive line play, piss poor last year. Jimmy Garoppolo obviously didn't go out and win us every single game in 2019, but he also didn't lose us every single game either. My thoughts on Jimmy is this team. Look, if we didn't need the cap money this year, I don't think there would be as many fans as saying get rid of Jimmy Garoppolo. If we wouldn't have been injured last year and made a run last year, I don't think people would have been saying get rid of Jimmy Garoppolo. There were a lot of factors last year that played into that. Now, did Jimmy play piss poorly last year when he was in there? Yeah. Was it all on him? A lot of it was on him, I would say, but I don't think all of it was on him. I wouldn't be surprised that John Lynch and them talked about upgrading the backup position because of the fact that C.J. Beathard and Nick Mullins were both gone. So you had Josh Johnson and you just kept Josh Rosen. So you obviously want to bring in competition because neither one of those guys other than Josh Johnson you know much about. You got Josh Rosen at the end of the year last year due to injuries. You saw a little bit of him. Maybe he's not the guy. Maybe he is the guy for that backup position. But I wouldn't be surprised to see this team draft a quarterback in the first round and see what he has. Either A, you got the same amount of outs this year. You're going to say you're going to have 2.4 dead money this year and 1.4 next year on Jimmy Garoppolo. You've already got pretty much all your cap done for this year, bringing your guys back that you wanted. You're going to keep Jimmy. If the rookie happens to do really well in camp and you have an out and you can keep another guy and whoever's on your roster, I don't think Gardner's going to cost you a ton of money, and I'll talk about him in a minute, but I wouldn't be surprised to see the Niners draft a quarterback and utilize him to push Jimmy. Now, we know that Jimmy didn't start here right away. We all kept saying, where's Jimmy at? Why is Jimmy not out here? We're 1-9 or whatever we were at the point. Why are we not seeing Jimmy Garoppolo? We just traded, right? It took a while for him to get – because he came in, October? So it was 3 months before he even started? Close to, right? So, and we heard that he was going to work with Mike Shanahan, to get the playbook down. And Kyle was spending day in, day out to get that playbook down with him. So 3 months later, he comes to start. Look, post June 1st, we saved just the same amount of money in cutting Jimmy Garoppolo if we can't trade him. You bring in a guy first round. You see if it's your guy that you like. I'm not saying go reach for somebody. But if you see a Justin Fields or a Trey Lance or a Zach Wilson or somebody that you really want in this system, make the moves to do it. Take the chance on Jimmy still being here and grooming that guy to be your guy. And then if he works out and he's going to be your starter or Jimmy gets hurt, that's when you cut him. You save them. You save the same amount of money, or you hold him on this roster till next year, so your rookie gets situated with he's got a whole year to learn your system, and then he takes over for Jimmy, and you're saving another $1 million next year. You're losing less money because it's dead money, $1.4 million still. Gardner Minshew, I don't think he'd be a bad backup, but I also don't know. I mean, he couldn't. He lost a job to Nick Foles, and then just kind of disappeared. And then Nick Foles.
Wait. I thought Nick Foles was the starter, and then Minshew was the backup.
Was the starter first.
No, I thought
Foles traded for Nick Foles. What?
Where did Nick Foles just sign a big deal?
Chicago.
Oh, and they traded.
No. Nick Foles?
Nick Foles got money somewhere, and then I thought he got hurt. And they put in Minshew. I thought Minshew was the backup the previous year. Foles was a starter, and then he got hurt or whatever.
Minshew took over in 2019.
For who?
For Bortles.
Bortles, right?
So he was the starter. Then the following year, they traded for Nick Foles, right?
That's what I thought, and I thought they gave Foles a contract.
They gave
I could be
Foles a
wrong.
big contract and was the starter, so that they weren't sold on Minshew, and Minshew played really well. So they went out and traded for Nick Foles from the Eagles.
Nah,
Yeah,
hold on. I could swear that when the season started, Minshew was the backup.
yeah. Yes, that's what I'm saying. After they went and traded for Foles, he was the backup. When he was running the Jacksonville team and it was the Minshew mania, then they went out and traded for Nick Foles. Then when Foles got hurt, Minshew came back and started playing, and then that's when they got rid of Nick Foles.
I'll be damned. Minshew was the freaking starting quarterback September 13th.
Yes, he was the starter.
Shit. All right, Nick. My bad, bro.
So then you go out and trade. So how much, obviously that's Jacksonville. There's not a whole lot around him. They get rid of everybody down in Florida. Florida teams, whether you're a Marlins fan, a Heat fan, whatever you are, they get rid of everybody in Florida for some odd reason. But I don't know. I just don't know enough about him. Do I think he can come in here and competently throw the football around and throw the ball deep? Yeah, but I didn't watch enough of him across like intermediate throws, accuracy, throwing in windows, things like that. So I'm not gonna do that, but I'm not gonna take anything away from Minshew either because he did perform well in Jacksonville. But for some odd reason, they felt the need to go and trade for Nick Foles. Is it because he won a Super Bowl with Philly? I don't know why. So, but either way, I think something will end up. Look, eventually something's going to happen to, with the whole Jimmy Garoppolo system. I wouldn't be surprised to see Jimmy here and a rookie come the first week of September.
All right. So that answer looks right. What I just clicked on there. But before that, there was a question that said, "Why take a gamble on Jimmy for another year?" We're about to be out, bro. Don't worry. I want to answer that before I say anything because I'm going to be really quick. The reason you take a chance on Jimmy another year, at least to start the year, is because the team is built right now for a push, a playoff push.
Mm-hmm.
You put a rookie in or some unknown commodity, you could be taking a step back, right? So at worst case scenario, Kyle knows exactly what he's got in Jimmy Garoppolo. Is that worth the risk of missing out on the postseason? Right? Because we sat here and we went through all these different positions. The defense is ready, right? If everyone's healthy. The O-line is ready. Wide receivers are ready. Running backs, I understand who they are, but come on, they're ready. I saw that, Tony. So I think that's the big thing. It's a big, big gamble to go out and get a rookie or go out and get a Sam Darnold or go and get a Minshew. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't know if they're going to be any worse than what Jimmy Garoppolo is. You know what Jimmy's floor is. Now, depending on who you ask, his floor has gotten lower and lower. So I don't know how people want to look at it. I think that the team is afraid of that risk. And that's why I think they're going to try to proceed with Jimmy. When it comes to how do I want to when it comes to the backup in Gardner Minshew or whether or not the team should go after him, I wouldn't be opposed to it. I would not be opposed to it at all. I think it's something that maybe they should look into doing. I think it might be fun for the team. So, do it, but I wouldn't do it as a starter. I would do it as a backup, if that makes any sense to you guys.
No. What happens if he comes in and beats out Jimmy?
Then he wins. I'm saying you trade for him as a backup.
Because honestly, if they keep Jimmy, I have a strange freaking feeling that we're going to be talking about this next year. Same thing. I really do.
I think you're going to either way. And that's what I was going to say too, because when Mike, you were touching on something, and Tony, you're kind of thinking in the same perspective as I am. is the only thing I don't want to see is if they draft a first-round quarterback is like what Philadelphia did with Jalen Hurts. Like in, out, in, out. Like if you pick him and you throw him in the game, then you roll with him.
Kyle ain't going to do that.
Right. But no, I know. But I'm just saying, like, that's the only thing I don't want to see done is if you if you decide he's your starter, obviously if he comes in because Jimmy got hurt, that's different. And if you feel like he's not up to par, then you take him back off and you put your starter back on. But if you decide he's the starter that year, don't let him play 3 games and we're losing because of quarterback play and he's not ready, and then take him out, put Jimmy in, then Jimmy gets, 2 or 3 games and he doesn't look good, and then throw him back in, kind of like they did with Carson Wentz and Jalen Hurts, back and forth, because that just ruins a rookie's mentality. As in, okay, well, you keep putting me out, whatever. But I do think that there needs to be a guy. Look, Jimmy's got 2 years left on his contract. One way or another, Jimmy's going to probably be gone within 2 years, right? We don't think he's going to get an extension. We don't think that he's going to stay here. Is it too much to draft a guy that you really like in the first round and move up for him and allow him to get situated with everything in your offense and then make a decision later? Is it too much to do that?
Well, no, because if you think about it, we came into this with all these free agents and all these holes. We are, 4 weeks away from the draft, and everything is filled.
And we're at that best player available.
So what does that tell? Like, they're loading up to do something right now, and there's reasons why they're doing this. But like, I just have a question, and I'm not saying like Minshew's the best quarterback since sliced bread, but if Minshew was our backup last year, do we sneak into the playoffs?
No, I don't think so.
Go ahead.
You don't think so?
I don't think so, because I don't think that the only thing that held us from the playoffs last year was just quarterback play. I think our quarterback play was –
I definitely think the quarterback play held us.
Right,
Definitely.
but I also think the quarterback play was bad because of the offensive line as well. I think they went hand in hand.
Well,
I'm not saying that Jimmy didn't make, quarterback play, whether it's Jimmy, Nick, or CJ, made mistakes and didn't ruin some games. But I also think that the offensive line played like shit too, where we couldn't get a running game established, which killed our passing game. We had receivers on and off the field, no chemistry. I don't think it was.
Wait. I think you got your order of events a little mixed up here. So I heard you say we couldn't get the run game established, so it affected the pass game. I think it's the exact opposite. Because these quarterbacks were trash, teams started playing the run. Because we know that quarterback, because you got to remember, Tony didn't ask if it was Minshew over Jimmy. He said the backups. So he's talking about only Foles. Jesus. Only Mullins and only Beathard.
No, I agree. I understand.
His point, if there's a quarterback that's under center that they respect the passing game for, they're not creeping towards the line of scrimmage. You know what I'm saying?
There were other people. Did we have all our receivers? No. They did. Our entire team was hurt. If Debo, Ayuk, and Kendrick Bourne were out there, wouldn't they have respected the pass game even more? Half the season we played with one receiver and not all 3 of them on the field at the same time.
The answer to that is we were full strength in the Super Bowl, and they still didn't respect our pass game with Jimmy at the quarterback. That's the difference here. Like, defenses know when Jimmy's on the field, it's straight hesitant and check down. Like, they know it. They see it. And we saw it versus Kansas City. And what we saw last year is this team, like, I can't even explain it. It was so bad. Like, Nick Mullins didn't move at all. He just dropped, hit his 5th step or 7th step, and he just stood there. And there were several times where, like, Trent Williams turned his head, like, what the hell are you doing here? So,
right.
Like, I watched the Philly game because I was watching the kid Jerry that we were looking at, the linebacker. Bro, Nick Mullins left so much out on that field. It was disgusting. And the number one play was how he overthrew Kyle Juszczyk in a clean pocket. Clean pocket, no pressure. He overthrew him. Now, what I'm trying to say is, can Gardner Minshew make that throw?
Right, but he can make that throw. But your question was, would we have snuck in the playoffs? And I think there were a lot of factors.
That leads into that answer. If he can make the stupid throws, the easy, simplistic throws, we could have snuck into I'm not saying make a run to the Super Bowl, by all means.
Right.
But I think we could have at least got into the wild card of the playoffs with competent quarterback play.
So
That's
think
all I'm trying to say.
At least 3 games with competent quarterback play.
You
think we won at least 3 more games with competent quarterback play?
I definitely think we would have beat the Eagles. We beat the Jets. We beat the Giants.
Destroyed by Philadelphia. That wasn't even a close game.
Yeah, but why?
Well, you saw why, right?
Tony's point is that the quarterback
right,
play.
But it wasn't. That's what I'm trying to say. It wasn't just because of the quarterback play. Even if you had better quarterback play, the offensive line was still beat up. Our running backs were beat up. We went into that game with a shit ton of backups. We were playing with Nick Mullins in that game. We were playing with offensive linemen being down, a new center, wide receivers not all on the field, defensive guys being hurt. Like there were a ton of things that pushed this team to not making a playoff push other than just quarterback play.
But the thing is, I understand what you're saying. I respect it. There were still people running wide open across the field. So how bad was it?
I understand that, but there were still people running wide open on the field in 2019 with Jimmy Garoppolo too. Like I understand that. I'm not saying that quarterback's not a problem. I just don't know if we would have won 3 or like.
I definitely think we could have won a lot. Not a lot. We easily could have won 3 more games. That's just my opinion. From what I've watched, I don't know. Believe me,
it's interesting to go back and look. It's just I don't want to. I don't want to stick up for the quarterbacks because that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm just saying that this team last year was a pile of shit.
We had
that still competed though. That's the scary thing. We still competed game in and game out. That's the difference. We never, minus the Miami game, we got blown out of the water.
What it was Miami that blew us out.
Listen, I'm gonna with that Eagles game in particular. I think if Minshew was there, we win that game. We had McKinnon as the running back and Jeff Wilson, but we had Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, Kendrick Bourne. That's where you win that game. You put that game in particular on the back of the quarterback. I think we win that game. I'm looking at the box score from that game. You had Brandon Ayuk with 1 catch for 38 yards and touchdown. 1 catch. You had Deebo Samuel.
Yeah, that was the catch that he jumped over
right. You got Deebo Samuel, 1 catch for 10 yards. George Kittle, 1 catch for 8 yards. No, bro.
That was Deebo's first game back too, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And he was on a pitch count that game. I remember that.
Yeah, he wasn't 100%.
You have
because he went back out after that game. I don't even think he played that whole game.
I'm sorry. George Kittle had 15. That was the game that George Kittle had the 15 receptions.
Yeah.
183. I'm sorry. I gave you guys the wrong numbers. I'm sorry. So Deebo was 3 for 3. I'm sorry. I was looking at rushing attempts. My bad. The 1 in 38 was Brandon Ayuk's rush. I'm sorry. Ayuk had 2 receptions for 18 yards. Deebo had 3 receptions for 35 yards. Kittle had 15 receptions for 183 yards and a touchdown that game. I think we win that game. That's the kind of game that you put on the backs of the quarterback and let him make plays. The problem with that game was McKinnon was the lead back because Wilson got hurt.
Yeah.
And Mostert was already out, and McKinnon ended up with 14 carries. Like that's where the mistake really came in. But if you go back and you look at the team, you guys are talking about whether or not you can find 3 more wins if we have comparable backups in there, like decent backups. You look at the game against the Cowboys. What was the final score in that game?
That's a game we should have had. We had the lead going into the 4th quarter, and Mullins just got colorblind.
We went toe-to-toe with Seattle in Week 17 with Beathard. We were right there in that one. I think we lost to Seattle both games. Maybe it was the other game that we were toe-to-toe with them. But you know what I'm saying? Like there's games in here I don't know how Green Bay looked. I don't remember how that game looked. But
No, Green Bay was a disaster because that was the game where everybody was out because of the false positive COVID test.
That's right. We didn't have a tackle and all that shit. You're absolutely
We
right.
didn't have receipt. That was River, Craycraft, and Richie James in that game. That's understandable.
All right,
but
okay.
I don't know.
I get it, but it's a really good conversation. The fact that the team is so desperate to upgrade the backup position, that's the one position they keep speaking on, tells me that they might be willing to ride this thing out with Jimmy, and they're just looking for somebody else behind him in the event of he gets pulled or injured or whatever. So that was the purpose of that point of the exercise.
And there's part of me that kind of wants to see Jimmy behind this line now with all the upgrades. But then there's the other part of me saying that we could potentially be in the same position next year, talking about the same freaking thing.
Well, here's what I think the team should do. And you guys let me know if you agree or not. One, you do try to upgrade the backup position. If it's a Garner, Minshew, if it's Sam Darnold, whatever, you go out, you upgrade the backup, you keep Jimmy, and you do not let whoever your backup is and Jimmy affect what you do in the draft. If one of those top quarterbacks fall to you, you get that quarterback. And I'm not saying you start the league year with an open competition. I don't care if they say Jimmy is the guy, but you better be grilling and training whoever it is that is looking like the better option. You get them ready. And in the event that you think or the time is right, you make the switch. Think about this. Before we went to the Super Bowl, I'm talking about the Harbaugh year, right? Alex Smith started that season.
Mm-hmm.
He played the 7 games. Cat played 9. They made the switch. They never looked back. You get to the Super Bowl. There's something to be said for when you make a switch and you're confident in the next guy, right? Because now teams have no film. You can do whatever you want for those next 3 games.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's if you get confidence in a backup or a rookie, you get confidence in them. That's 3 free games right there. As long as you operate that playbook the way you know you can, that's 3 free games. Then after the 3 games, they get the film on you and they start teetering in and you know what I'm saying? That's when they hanker down after the 3 games. But that's 3 free games. You put Jimmy in there for, let's just say 9 games, right? You put Jimmy in there for 9 games and you hope that you can win 6 of those 9. You're 6-3. You put in whoever the other person is. Now you're 9-3. Maybe you lose one of them because, you know, turnovers or some shit like that, right? But either way, now you're 8-4. You get what I'm saying? You got to hanker down, and now you get to your shit, and you got to win 2 more games to make it to the postseason. You get what I'm saying? Like, so that could be the way that the team addresses the season this year. I would not be surprised at all if we see something like that this season. I don't think you have to get rid of Jimmy. I don't think you have to avoid drafting somebody or picking up somebody.
I think if you have a position, if you're in position to go up and get a quarterback that you like, you know you're going to be replacing him within 2 years. If there's somebody that you like in this draft, you move up, you get the guy that you want.
Damn right.
And then before we were kind of forced to where we said, if you draft a first round quarterback, you have to play him. Mm-hmm. You don't have to play him right now. You can win football games with Jimmy. You updated your offensive line. Your running backs are coming back. Your defensive front's coming back healthy. Let the kid learn. Like, let him do whatever he has to do, and then when you feel ready, then make the move. If you feel that way and you're confident with your backups, you know, who knows who the backups are going to be. That's going to be an interesting thing. I'll tell you what, I'm more interested to find out who the 3rd string backup is going to be compared to the 2nd, because I truly think the Niners are going to draft somebody high of their guy in the 1st round, and I think they're already at 12. They don't know where they're going to be next year. They don't know what quarterbacks are coming out next year. They see a guy they like. They got the draft capital. They have players that they just best player available. Go out and get who you want.
Mm-hmm.
And you're low on cap money, so even if you trade picks away, you're cutting that cap down from $9 to $11 million to $5 to $7 million or $7 to $9 million.
I get what you're saying. Yeah. All right. So that's going to do it for the main part of the show. I got a silly question for you guys, and we're going to get up out of here. And it doesn't have to be long and drawn out, but the question is going to be about toenails. Look at your faces. Oh, I love you guys. Oh, I love you guys. Do you clip? Do you peel? or are you flexible and do you bite? How do you get rid of your toenails?
Clip.
I take my ass to get a pedicure.
So you don't clip or peel your own toenail? You get someone to do your feet every time?
Yep. Not all the time. But I will clip. I will clip. I will not bite. First of all, I'm not
flexible enough to get my foot. Oh, look at you.
I'm not putting my toenails in my mouth. And I'm clipping, not peeling. But I'm going to get that massage and that nice lotion and get a nice clip and shit that back when I can. Especially after being in, working 12 to 15 hours in steel toe boots.
Yeah, hi. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it's nice to go and get them shits done.
Okay. All right, Tony. Are you said you're a clip guy?
Absolutely.
You guys don't peel your toenails at all. So I'm the only one. I hate you.
You're the only one that sits there and bites your fingernails and spits them all over your house too on the camera.
I got better. I put them in a little pile and I scrape them in my hand and throw them away now. I used to just, but I don't do that anymore. So I'm the only one that peels their toenails.
And you don't bite them too?
No, I can't. I'm not. My knees don't work that way no more, bro.
Right. If they could, though, you would.
No. I did it. I probably bit my toenails up until about 10 years old.
Right. So
about 10 years old.
So you have done it before.
Yeah. I've done it
You're
before.
a biter, bro. I can tell you're a biter.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
You bite the inside of your lip.
Uh-huh.
You do this. You bite your skin all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I know you biting them toenails one point in your life.
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah. I used to do that shit. Now, here's the thing. The best feeling in the world when you got to get your feet done, you get that ingrown nail on the side of your big toe, like that little corner, and you can't get down there. You go and I almost said what I said. You go and let the lady rub your legs down, and she gets under there and clips the pain to relief. There is no better feeling in the world, bro. That feeling of when they get that ingrown nail on the edge and just clip, boom. As soon as they cut that joint, instant relief, man. It is the best feeling in the freaking world.
You only get ingrown toenails from peeling, right?
Yes, that's what people keep telling me. That's why you got to stop. You got to stop peeling them. I can't.
Not true. Because if you cut it on an angle, if you cut it on an angle in the corner, that's how you get it.
Yeah, if you cut it, if you don't round it off, and you cut it at a straight angle, like if you just cut it straight across like this, and you're too low, you can grow one.
Oh, so it has to be curved.
If you round it, you're not gonna get one.
No, but all my nails that I peel off are shaped like the moon, the crescent.
But you're pulling it off, so some of it comes off the nail going down the edge. How do we get in the?
Mariah, I don't bite my toenails no more. I said 10. I haven't done that in over 25 years. All right, true story.
On that note,
if you put your feet in your mouth, I swear to God, someone hit you way too many times.
I was abused as a kid. That's cool. Ain't no shame in my game. There's no shame in my game. I got. Yeah. Shut up, man. I don't do it anymore. I'm a new person, guys.
Jan Justella says, "Does this lead to a sponsor or something?" Nope. Welcome to NBN, bro.
Or no, I'm kidding. Not. All right, that's gonna do it, man. We want to thank you guys for rocking out with us. I really, really appreciate everybody who stayed in here. Look at this. This is a low blow. Now, why? She loves me.
She's cleaning up that carpet of hers.
No, I got her a really nice vacuum cleaner for that. This vacuum is incredible. It is really, really nice. But listen, all jokes aside, we want to thank you guys for rocking out with us and sticking with us as long as you did. We did over 2 hours tonight. We were only planning an hour and a half. So bravo to you guys, the panel. Nick, Tony, you guys did an amazing job breaking down the roster. I really, really, really like what you guys said tonight, especially at the end for the quarterback. I think we saved the best for last, and I think that we all kind of came to the similar conclusion. You keep Jimmy, you draft your guy if he's there, you get your backup if he's out there, and you rock out and see what happens and let the chips fall where they may. The team is primed to make a playoff push, and you don't want to blow that. You don't want to get rid of Jimmy and think, damn, what if? What if the offensive line could have made him play better? What if da-da-da-da-da? So we owe it to ourselves to see what the cards hold. I know this much. Like Nick said about 45 minutes ago, we cheer for this emblem. All right. You guys see it over my head. That's what we're going for. You see it in Nick's background. You see it on Tony's hat. It's all over here. That's what we cheer for, guys. And so if Kyle decides we're getting rid of Jimmy and Rosen and Johnson, and we're going to bring in whoever, we're going to be watching just as intently as we were before. All right. So thank you guys so much for rocking out, fellas. I'm going to give you the floor for final words, and then we're going home. Tony?
I'm tired of shit. I'm going to bed, man.
I like those final words. Nick?
Tony, good night, man. No, man, it's just quick and easy, but stay faithful. Trust the process. Trust the process.
All right, and that's going to do it for us, guys. Thanks for rocking out with us. Prepare for glory.
Anticipate pain.
But always remain faithful. We out of here. Peace.